Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, this is Andrew, and welcome back to Overwatch. Today, I want to talk about one of the more controversial characters, and that is Mei. She's very powerful in pubs, lots of different options with her abilities. She's sort of like a disruptor, neutralizer type hero, not super high DPS, but she can really wreak some havoc on a team. And public opinion right now is that people think she's OP, or at least anti-fun, annoying to play against. And I figured, since a lot of people are saying, like, oh my god, she's so difficult to play against, so I figured I would take the time today to make a video, bringing up some counters for Mei, how to deal with her, what to look out for, just some overall strategies when playing against a Mei in an Overwatch match. So what to do? Well, when you play against Mei, there are really two different options. You can either run away, or you can out DPS her, with burst damage. Burst damage specifically because she can heal herself. If you kind of chip her down, almost kill her but not quite, she can escape relatively easy between her wall and her cryo freeze. So I would highly focus on burst damage. Now let's focus on the first kind of category on how to deal with Mei, how to escape. There are a handful of heroes out there with abilities that will make them invulnerable. The first one that comes to mind really is Zarya. She can set up a barrier around herself. While it doesn't last forever, she can basically reset her movement speed and get away. She can do the same to an ally, and this comes in handy especially when you're trying to get out of Mei's ultimate Blizzard. Now, outside of invulnerability, there are certain movement abilities that heroes have in Overwatch, that can get you out of Mei's freezing range. And these include, Tracer's Blink, Genji's Swift Strike, Pharah's Jetpacks, even Junkrat's Mine. If you try to put a mine down between you and Mei, there's a good chance, if you can get it off, that Mei will be blasted out of range, or you will be blasted out of range. So there's tons of options out there. You just kind of have to be aware of it while you're getting frozen up by Mei. Now, of course, once you're out of range, you will have to start dealing with her Icicle Shooter, the right click of the Endothermic Blaster, but at least you are not being frozen anymore. Now, for the contrarians out there, yes, of course, not every situation is going to be the same. Just because you pick a hero with an escape doesn't mean that Mei won't be able to freeze you. The key mentality to go into when you're fighting Mei is, don't go in 1 vs 1 her. She's very, very strong 1 vs 1. It may take her a while to kill you, but, her freeze is going to freeze you. Granted, she can keep her crosshairs on your character model, so kind of bear that in mind. 1 vs 1 Mei usually isn't a good idea unless you have some crazy DPS. And this kind of bleeds into my next point, which is, instead of running away, we're going to go over characters that can actually kill Mei pretty quickly. And quickly is sort of the key word here, because if you don't burst her down with enough damage, she is going to escape. Between her wall and the self-heal from Cryo Freeze, she is a pretty tough hero to kill unless you have burst damage. Now, burst damage comes in many forms. The first one I'll touch upon are snipers. Currently, we have Hanzo and Widowmaker. They can both one-shot, headshot a Mei, and this is extremely handy because that way you don't have to kind of get in her face, risk getting frozen. You can just kind of take her out pretty quickly without her healing up. I would say, arguably, between the two snipers, Widowmaker or Hanzo, Widowmaker is probably a lot easier to use against Mei, just because Widowmaker's sniper rifle is hit scan, and she also has the grappling hook, which should allow her to get away from getting frozen in case if Mei decides to rush you or something. But I do understand that Mei can theoretically snipe snipers with her right click, but if you see a Mei and you're still getting out-sniped by a Mei as Widowmaker, I think that says a little bit more about your skills with Widowmaker than Mei's sort of OP-ness as a sniper. Now, another hero that gets brought up a lot is Roadhog, and I can see why, because if Roadhog hooks you in and can get a shotgun blast off on Mei, more likely than not, Mei is going to go down. However, if Mei spams the cryo freeze while she's being hooked in, there's a good chance she's going to survive because the cryo freeze is pretty much instant. And she does have 250 HP, so unless you get a couple of headshots in from the shotgun, you're not going to be able to kill Mei instantly. Roadhog is tanky enough to, survive Mei's combo pretty easily, but I wouldn't say Roadhog is a solid counter against Mei. Sure, there are instances as Roadhog when you can pull off that combo and kill Mei before she cryo freezes. Yes, there are instances where you can hook her in while she's low and still take her out pretty easily, but I wouldn't say it's a 100% reliable way to take out Mei. A stronger counter would be Mccree. Mccree's flashbang into the right click is incredibly powerful against Mei. If you're able to land a bunch of your shots up close against the Mei, you should be able to take her out, and if not, you can always roll to reload and rinse and repeat. Now, Mccree can contend with Mei in a poking scenario, with Mei's right click versus Mccree's right click. I would say they're pretty similar with Mccree's right click edging out just because it's hit scan. They do have similar damage models. I'll go ahead and post it here on the screen for you guys, but the point I'm trying to make is that Mccree can certainly hold his own at range against a Mei. Another great counter for Mei that sort of incorporates these two main points that I'm trying to make here in this video, that is escape plus DPS, is Reaper. Reaper's Wraith form is fantastic for getting away from Mei. It basically resets the battle in a way that Cryo Freeze sort of resets the battle. It grants an invulnerability, increased movement speed, and so long as you know the relative amount of time it takes for Mei to freeze you, which is 1.5 seconds, you can time your Wraith form to sort of avoid getting frozen. On the flip side, the DPS side, Reaper's shotguns do an insane amount of damage. If you're in the right range for Reaper's Hellfire shotguns, you should be able to take out a Mei pretty easily. Now, of course, she can always cryo freeze herself and heal herself, but if you still have your Wraith form, you should be pretty confident on man-moding a Mei. Just the math itself, if it takes Mei 1.5 seconds to freeze a Reaper, and a Reaper can get off 3 shots in that time, each shot doing a maximum of 140 damage, the odds are pretty much in your favor, that coupled with the fact that you can Wraith form to reset the battle. If there is a hero out there in Overwatch that counters Mei directly, I would say the best bet is Reaper. Reaper's pretty fantastic on taking out Meis. Does this mean that Reaper will win against a Mei every single time? No. But from my experience, if you're able to get up close as Reaper against a Mei, he certainly has more than a fighting chance of taking her out. Now, the final point that I kind of want to leave you guys with is the interesting divide between pro players and the public mindset. Mei doesn't get picked that much in pro games, tournaments and things like that. Whereas, in the public eye, she is seen as one of the more OP characters out there. Now, why is there a divide? Well, in my opinion, this has to do with the fact that in pro games, or at least in coordinated teams, Mei does not kill heroes quick enough. And this is important because in a coordinated team, presumably the allies will be working together, protecting each other. So if you see an ally getting frozen up by Mei, you're all just going to focus on that Mei. And Mei doesn't have that much mobility either. So yeah, it's just quite interesting to see there is such a divide between the two communities. I'm sure there are more reasons why Mei isn't picked more in pro matches, so let me know down in the comments why you think there is such a difference. Obviously, there are probably more counters to Mei out there. I just didn't put them all here in the video, or else it would go on for another 10 minutes. But if there are any other heroes that you feel like are worth mentioning, let me know down in the comments. It'll be an interesting read for the rest of us. And yeah, hopefully overall this video has been helpful, has been informational, informative, and yeah, until next time guys, I'll see you in the next one.